Okay, what we're going to do here is actually disable the response trigger on the Tippmann A5. This should be pretty similar to most Tippmann response triggers, but unfortunately I don't have anything else. So at any rate, what we'll do here actually is first gather our tools. We'll need the 90-degree barb fitting, a flat blade screwdriver, and then either a pair of pliers, needle nose works easiest for me, or a crescent wrench. And despite the name, actually, we're not going to remove the trigger assembly. The response trigger disabling only requires a removal of this hose specifically right here. Alright, some of you more experienced users will note that I'm actually using the low pressure kit hose, but the process is all the same whether or not you're using this one. Anyway, what you'll do here is what I like to do is I loosen up these two portions, the two banjo fittings on the body, the receiver, as well as the cyclone piston housing. Okay, notice I'm pulling up constantly as I'm unscrewing the banjo screw. It's because there's two O-rings right here that you want to make sure that you don't lose and that they stay in the correct place. These are very difficult to find. I haven't even found them through tippmannparts.com. I had to call Tippmann directly to get them. I'm going to take my pliers and pull up on this hex screw here at the top of the RT banjo. Just get the screw itself, or the nut itself. Sometimes it doesn't always work. If that happens, there we go. Usually a couple of turns. I can usually do the rest by hand. And again, we're just constantly pulling up as we're unscrewing. So it leaves you with this particular hose set. Now we'll have the RT banjo, alright, which is this big, large, ugly thing back here, alright, which includes a special screw with a few holes in it for the airflow. Alright, we have the Macroline fitting. Now this is what we call the T banjo. And if you give me just a moment, I will show you why. If I grab another pair of pliers, sometimes it takes two pairs. Try to pull this sucker off. Now this is about how difficult it will be when you first do this. You just gotta brute force that sucker right off. Okay, the other one should come off with no problem because I've done this so many times. Yep. Alright, that is your T banjo, named for fairly obvious reasons. Up one way and out both sides. Okay, and then what you left is another 90-degree banjo and the short hose. You take your second 90-degree banjo fitting, make sure that there is an O-ring underneath the screw head as well as at the bottom underneath the banjo itself, still wrapped around the screw threads. Take the barbed end, the small end there, and just push it right into there. Okay. Again, it may require some force if you've only done this once or twice on the hose. I've done this so many times that it pretty much goes in like butter. If you do that too many times, you'll just have to replace the hose. It's no big deal. I've done this probably 50 or so and still hasn't caused me any problems. Alright, then we take this, put one side into the receiver. I usually only screw maybe 3 or 4 turns. Make sure you do not cross thread, so it will cause damage to your O-rings. Then I put the other side onto the cyclone piston housing, and I may have to adjust the piston house out or in to align for best threading here. Once I've got it good, if you have to fight the threading, you are cross-threading. It is not a good thing. Okay, do not over tighten. You will also damage your O-rings that way. Okay. Also, you can pull the barbs out of the hose if you over tighten. Okay, and that's it. So what you should wind up with is basically 2 banjo fittings, a short hose, and nothing between here. You actually don't have to remove this portion, nor do you have to remove the trigger or any of the internals inside the response trigger grip assembly itself. Alright, if you want to leave it that way, it's actually the way I would suggest, simply because all you got to do to re-enable the trigger is fairly simple. If you want to shortcut it, just remove the banjo on the body. This really only works though if it's done a few times. Take your hose, take your T banjo fitting, put it again on the long hose. Your short hose goes to that, which in turn goes to the cyclone piston housing, and then just re-screw everything back down into place. But since I don't want it there, I'm going back to the non-RT. Yes, I am weird in the paintball industry. I hate electronic and mechanical rapid fire triggers. So I rely solely on my own trigger finger. So I'm going to again try to find why I keep crossing. There we go. Make sure that's a little snug, not too tight, and throw them when I stay. So, and again, as always, put away your tools. You don't want those lost. And keep your spare parts. You may need them later.